Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in right here, Fantasy Life. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple hours. It is Friday. You have made it, and we are so glad that you are here listening to us, getting you ready for all of those fantasy drafts you've got coming up and everything in between so you can win and dominate those leagues going into the 2025 season. We've got good news, Adam, on Justin Fields. We've got some league winners I want to talk to you about, maybe some late round running backs that you should be targeting. It's going to be a great day. How you doing?
I'm doing well. My toe is fine. Thanks for asking.
I'm so glad. Did you eat breakfast? Was that the other thing that you said you were going to do now?
I did not. I just didn't feel
What are
like
we
eating. I thought
doing?
about getting some fruit and I
Mm.
didn't do it. I
Who did
just,
we talk about yesterday about breakfast? Who was that?
oh, it was, oh
It
my
was a
goodness. How can
receiver.
I
I
forget?
know.
Oh,
You
Marvin
brought it up.
Harrison.
Oh,
Marvin
okay,
Harrison
perfect.
Jr.
Yeah. Career year. I mean, it
Oh,
can't get
the
worse than that in
last time I
college.
heard someone talk about their nutrition was years ago. Oh my God. It was Devontae Parker. It did not work
And
out
how
well.
did it? I was just going to say,
No,
and we all remember.
he had said he had didn't eat breakfast. He wasn't hydrated enough, and I'm like thinking like it's one thing like if I was doing a physical sport, obviously I would have breakfast. Oh, I shouldn't say that because I never eat
I was
before
going
I
to
play
say,
softball on Sunday mornings. And
yeah.
it's not good. Like I just have coffee and then I play.
I don't know how you do that. I would
That's why I
be.
do better at night. I play better at night
Oh,
because
okay.
obviously I've eaten something for the day. I have more
Are they
energy at night.
factoring that into your schedule, over the next couple days? When's your next game, by the way? Did we
Uh,
miss that?
no, I don't have a game for a month till the fall season.
Wait, what happened to the playoffs? You lost.
Lost in the semis.
Ah,
Yeah,
dang. Sorry to
yeah,
bring
it
it up.
happens.
Ah,
Unfortunately,
it's disappointing. That's okay. We'll watch the film and get better, as we all like to say. Derrick Henry, though, that's someone that we've talked about.
well,
He
yeah,
he puts a
last year.
lot. Yeah, he's got his nutritionist. He like waits till noon to eat a meal. I don't know. Crazy.
Yeah, I
Eat
guess
some breakfast.
he's getting older, so he's changing his regimen. Obviously, just keep doing what you're doing, Derrick Henry. It's
Don't
working.
change.
But yeah, you do see players though, especially after a few years in the league, you hear these kind of stories that they change a little bit. Others don't. Does DK Metcalf still have a diet full of candy?
I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
he
think anyone's
stays that
asked that
ripped.
important question yet at training camp. I think they're focused on other things with
Yeah.
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, though there's a lot of other distractions at Steelers camp, but maybe at some point we'll get a story on DK Metcalf forgetting
Hopefully,
about eating candy.
3 to 4. It was not just candy; it was 3 to 4 bags of candy, which is kind of insane.
The
But
thought of that
whatever.
just I guess
Oh,
when you're younger, candy is cool, but I don't know.
when
It's
you're
just
younger, candy's always cool. Adam, what are you
there
talking
comes a certain
about?
point. It's too much sugar at a
No.
certain point.
Well, yeah, a
Really?
whole
So
bag of candy,
that's what
yes,
I'm
but
saying.
like
So you could eat all that candy?
no, I couldn't, but I
Okay.
would enjoy it. I wouldn't say that it's like it's taking away my joy.
No, like I guess the one thing that I cannot stop eating is like peanut butter cups. If they're around,
Oh,
forget
those are
it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this now. You do like peanut butter. I don't like any of the sour candies very
Yeah,
much.
I don't either.
I'm chocolate for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Um
Anything with peanut butter, that's it. I'm destroying it.
Destroy it. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, we do have good news. Not only is Adam Ronis's toe okay, but so is Justin Fields. Looks like they put out yesterday that he's day to day with that dislocated toe. It was a little bit of a scare when we were coming on just 24 hours ago, but it doesn't look like they'll be without him at all. I actually saw him running around at practice today, or at least running to the sidelines. So, not in a boot or anything that I've seen so far. So that leaves him on track to be the team's week 1 starter, facing his former team in the Steelers, because we couldn't give up that week 1 revenge game. We just couldn't do it. But great news for anyone that was, looking at that and a little bit worried.
Yeah, and it's also an example of don't panic
Yep.
because you just don't know what the situation is. And yesterday on social media, when that Fields news broke, I mean, I said there was a headline, is Justin Fields' season over? There was people speculating that it could be 15 different things. It's like, let's relax, okay? Wait for the news to come out and then make your assessment. And he is on the practice field today. So, hopefully, you didn't make any rash decisions if you were drafting yesterday. I mean, again, the easy thing is, hey, I don't have enough news. I will just pass. But it also comes a certain point. Maybe someone got a bargain on Fields yesterday because he just fell. Maybe if it was a slow draft. So, you just need to wait and allow the team's assessment come into play before making these judgments. It's different, obviously, as we get closer to if you're in your draft and the news breaks, completely different, right? You don't have a lot of time to react,
Yeah.
but most people are just doing slow drafts, best ball drafts. I doubt anyone was doing their home league draft yesterday around this time.
I
Could
don't
be
think
wrong, but
so.
I doubt
I
it.
I know Ian because when Ian was on a couple days ago, he's doing his home league draft this weekend,
Yeah,
but
I
that's
saw
not.
him
I
with
know.
preparing. I'm like, wait, your home league draft is this
That's what
weekend?
I said. I said, Ian, what are we
That's
doing? Like
great
that's
for Ian. He's gonna
early.
destroy them.
Well, yeah, probably.
Like
But
he's
still, it's crazy early. I'm
Well,
surprised.
most people are not ready for the home league draft right now. They're just
No.
not. I know a lot of people in my league are probably not ready. Like one of my friends said he's done a lot of football prep just because he's had downtime at work. So he's like, yeah, I've been researching fantasy football every day. I was like, damn it. Um,
You're like, I wanted you to be unprepared.
yeah, well, not there. No one's. I don't
I'm
think anyone's
kidding.
unprepared anymore. But
No.
there, there are some that are really into it, following it every day, and others that are just casual and they'll check in here and there. They're not thinking about it 24/7 like us and people that listen to this channel and go to fantasylife.com. Like you guys are
Mm-hmm.
hardcore. You're not going to get most of the time 12 people like that in your home league. But yeah, that is a early home league draft. I think that's beneficial for the person who's on top of everything. I actually
Yes.
I just decided on my home league draft, the biggest headache in the world, and it's going to be Thursday, August 28th.
Ooh.
What do you mean, ew?
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
No,
Too
Thursday's
late?
fine. No, no, it's
Well, I
fine.
didn't
It's
want to
good.
do that weekend's Labor Day weekend,
Oh, that's right.
so
We
I
have this
didn't want.
conversation, I feel like, every year because yeah,
I mean,
that's
yeah, I don't mind drafting Labor Day weekend. I
yeah.
mean, it's
You
not.
just have to make sure everyone's good to go
Yeah,
on
so I
Labor Day.
didn't want
Yeah.
to put it in there in case people are going away. So I just did a weeknight, the week
No, that's a
before.
good time.
Yeah,
Like you'll get we'll pretty much know all the only thing if you're drafting right now and everyone listening kind of knows this and that's why you do go to fantasylife.com is it's just figuring out those little questions that we still have going into training camp. You know, some of the backfields where you're like, okay, is it really going to be a three-headed monster for Jacksonville and the Cowboys? You know, who's the wide receiver to, I don't know, in Las Vegas. Like there's still other little things that we need to
mhm.
Quinshon Judkins, you know, we got that call yesterday and I do have an update.
That's a big one.
I do have an update for I think his name was Jack or whoever called yesterday. It was a really good question. We actually did get a little bit of an update, but that's the only part about drafting right now is you might draft someone and it either goes really well and they do win their competition or they get hurt. Things happen in training camp, so that's the only thing with doing it this early. But you're right. If you're on top of things right now and you're drafting right now, you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, we're gonna see movement in ADP. There's no question about it. There might be some injuries. We hope not, but so there will be things that change. But you're also gonna get a lot of good bargains. Like there's players that are starting to slowly get some buzz. They're still in a affordable range, but once some video comes out or reports in
Oh
training camp are
yeah.
positive or something, we don't really see much in the preseason anymore with the reduction in games and not many players playing, but you will see movement. So you see movement from that last week of August to the first week of September.
Oh
It's
yes, a
insane
lot.
sometimes.
That's why we always have to that's I like to keep a running list of where they were at in July and then compare it to the right here like 7-10 days before the week one starts. Because it is always interesting to see how much they've moved and what the difference is. I'm in a slow draft right now. I think I told you Battle of the Sexes. I've already been sniped. I was waiting on it's super flex. I was waiting on JJ McCarthy. Didn't happen. Pick right before me. So
Oh,
tis the
that
season.
would have been your second quarterback?
That would have been my second.
Yeah.
So now I'm really just going to wait because there's no the other quarterbacks out there right now. So I have Jalen Hurts. He was my first pick.
Okay.
So I'm fine there. So I was like, hey, I'm going to wait. I'm going to try and get either a Drake May, a JJ McCarthy, someone later. But now it's we're in the range of CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Penix. So just going to wait that one out now. But yeah, getting sniped in late July is tough. It's not a fun time.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's never fun. But the thing is, you just have to always have a backup plan. So this way, like, especially when you're on the clock in a live draft, because slow draft, obviously, you have time to lash out your frustrations and everything and vent. But if you're on the clock, you cannot let that affect you. So you always have to have a backup plan that your thoughts have to always be going. That's why, like, I focus when I'm in a draft. Like a lot of
You
people
do.
joke around and all that stuff at these live events, and
No, you're
I
locked in.
will, but like the main goal is, all right, this is so like in your situation, I would say, okay, McCarthy's my target. If I don't get him, he's gone. What am I going to do? If that player is gone, who's the next one up? You got to always be prepared because especially if you're in a draft with a clock, sometimes these clocks are
Yeah.
1 minute. You don't have time to sulk and panic. We don't use a clock at the GST.
No.
We hope that we keep it moving in person. Like I don't think you need a clock in person unless you always have that one or two people that take 4 minutes, then it's different. I was in a draft
Yeah.
and the guy would just be like, all right. And, there was always the same one. He was like, he would actually use the clock.
Got it. The whole clock.
Yeah, or no, the
Yeah.
commissioner would say, all right, you take it too
Okay.
long. You got a minute and a half to go or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's why I know you talked about overall rankings, but I really, really enjoy, and you can get these cheat sheets at fantasylife.com, but I'm just someone that enjoys looking at tiers more.
Yeah.
Just for me and the way that I can visualize things, that's just how it works for me. I know some people do really like overalls and that's totally fine too, but for me it's tiers, Adam, and then it is setting a cue, at least at the beginning. Because when things get really crazy and really crazy things happen at the beginning of your draft, things that you're going in, you have a plan, you think it's going to go according to plan, and it never does. But especially in home leagues, that's probably one of my hardest leagues that I draft in, Adam, because I just don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't sometimes they just throw curveballs and I'm like, okay, I've got to zig and zag and all this stuff. So for me, I also make sure to set a queue of just guys I really want to target over the next, first 6, 7 rounds and see where it's at there. But checking out tiers as well and just making sure that I've got the guys that I want in those tiers based off my rankings. That makes it way easier for me. So we'll continue. We've got a lot. I will say we've got a lot of just drafting information at fantasylife.com. So if you want to check out those cheat sheets, the tiers, anything like that for our rankings, auction values. I know I've had a couple questions on auctions and giving more advice for that. So we're definitely going to do it. But all those cheat sheets and everything are live at fantasylife.com. So make sure you go and check those out. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off. I mentioned, Adam, just really quick here, because we did have a caller yesterday call in and ask about Quinshon Judkins. So the update is that there's really no update. Browns are still gathering information on Quinshon Judkins before taking next steps. So Quinshon Judkins is one of two unsigned 2025 draft picks, and Andrew Berry came out and spoke yesterday, their general manager, and really didn't give us any hints or any big information on what could change over the next couple of days, but he was arrested on July 12th in Florida. And then the quote was, in terms of Quinshon specifically, we're still gathering information. Sometimes that process occurs quickly. Sometimes the information comes in a little bit more slowly, but we're still in really probably the information gathering stage. So again, probably no update to the update that we wanted. I am still not and standing firm on. I'm just not. I personally can't do it, Adam. I know that we talk about calculated risks, and if he falls to a certain point, I think I said yesterday the 12th round or something like that. That's when I could maybe look at him. But even then, I just don't. I just don't know if I want to do it right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be different for everyone. It's such a tough call just because we really have no information, but the indications are not good, not signed.
No.
He's not at camp. He's a rookie. He's dealing with this legal issue. So, yeah, it's tough right now because at some point everyone becomes a value. I don't know if he'll fall to round 12. I haven't really seen the ADP over the last couple days. Like that's what I want to see. Like the last, because really
I can
now
look.
with training camp starting in this Tuesday, so I'm interested to see like this weekend what his ADP is. I think right after it happened, I don't think he saw a huge drop. People probably were like, "Oh, I'll just still take him." But I think now that camp has started, he's still unsigned, and we're getting these comments. I'm interested to see what his ADP is over the weekend because I'm with you
Yeah.
right now. Like, it's hard to click draft button on him at this point. He'd have to really fall.
He has an ADP change right now of 24.4 from April to July. So he's going as running back 31 on underdog. But I'm with you over the weekend, over the next 7 to 10 days. I feel like he continues to fall. There's no way he stays in that RB 31 range. Or in my opinion, I don't think that he would.
Yeah, I think he falls too.
Dylan Sampson season? Jerome Ford season? Scary. Maybe.
Yeah, I prefer Samson. I know Jerome Ford might open as the starter. He's been there, but they went out and they drafted two running backs. So if they really felt that confident in Ford, They likely don't make that move. So I would take Samson first. So he's a
And I'm
guy that's definitely
surprised
rising.
I'm surprised he hasn't risen a little bit more. Still RB 47, but again, you said it. We're still getting information. We're in that information gathering stage, like Barry said. But RB 47 right now, he doesn't have much of an ADP change, maybe 2 spots right there. So that's another guy that even if you, because I was going to come out and say maybe if you miss out on Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford is on the table, but Dylan Sampson being RB 47 and Jerome Ford being at RB 54, it's not a crazy discount if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Dylan Sampson's the one probably to target right now.
Yeah,
Weird
I
times.
prefer him. And yeah, you're going
Yeah.
to see a lot of movement in the ADPs in this Browns backfield over the next weekend and next week as well until we get further news on
Yep.
Judkins.
Yep. And one more fun one that I saw yesterday. Did we talk about this? Michael Penix Jr. saying they're going to get Kyle Pitts the ball this
No, I
season.
think that was after the show.
I have to just bring it up right now because we can't. I'm telling you right now, we cannot do this again. I'm just letting everyone. I'm out. I'm out on the price. I don't care. He could be tight end 20. And I know
What?
that some
Come
people,
on. You
Adam,
really wouldn't take him
no.
at tight end 20?
No, I'm going to stay firm on that. He's tight end 7.
Wow.
If I won't take him at tight end 17, I'm probably not going to take him at tight end 20. I can't do this again, Adam. Are you taking him at tight end 17?
I would, yeah. Now, maybe because I haven't been burned like you have, I don't
Yeah.
think I've had.
Everyone.
Of course, everyone has been burned, and I already saw it. The same thing. Oh, I'm not falling for this one again. But you're not paying anything for him. Like, okay, what tight ends in that range are you have the ability to do what he has done before? I know it was his rookie year, and
Um,
it was a while ago, but it is a new quarterback, new system. Like,
Jake Ferguson.
I would take Ferguson over him. I have Ferguson ranked over him.
Um, Brenton Strange.
That one's more dicey. Like,
Mm,
I would probably go Pitts.
Hunter Henry.
That's
I'm a
all.
little bit higher on Hunter Henry this season.
I'm a little
Going into
higher on
it.
Henry too, but I think the people who have been burned by Pitts just are Xing him off the list. And, in the past, he's gone anywhere from what? Tight end 5 to 8. Now
Hmm.
the thing is, you're taking him as a backup tight end. If he doesn't work out, it is not going to crush you. It's way different when the expectations were, I need this guy to come through. You
Yeah.
can take him as a backup, knowing that he has done it before. If it doesn't work out or it looks like it has the first few weeks and this camp report doesn't pan out, and I'm not saying this because of what Penix said. This
Yeah.
was the ranking before. I'm just saying, like, you have a guy that has put up a huge season and is now being taken as a backup tight end. So instead of just saying, forget it, he burned me, I'm not going through it again, he does have a season of 1,026 yards with 68 catches. I know it was his rookie year, and even 2 years ago, he had 90 targets. So any tight end that's going to get that, and if you believe in Penix and if you think this offense is going to be good, he could be the number 2 option in this offense, passing wise, right? I know Darnell Mooney's there, but
Yeah. How is he doing, by the way? I'll look at
Mooney,
that.
I think he was fine. It was, yeah, I
Okay.
didn't see anything significant. But again, I'm not saying, oh, go run out there and get Pitts, but considering the price, and the thing is, I haven't been able to get him yet. So it's not like I've been able to land him, but I'm open to it. There's no question about it that I would take. If tight end 17, like, you have nothing to lose there. A lot of those tight ends in that range are going to flop. So at least we have seen Pitts have a good season before, and there is a possibility of him being the number 2 target in this offense. Well, Bijan. Let me see.
Yeah.
Bijan
Number
Robinson's
number
obviously going to
3.
catch a lot of passes. What
Yeah.
what were the targets last year for Bijan? It probably had to be in the
It
70s or
was
80s,
yeah,
right?
it was a lot.
Let's see.
I can go to
72. 72. So, and he had 86 in his rookie year. So, Pitts can certainly be second on this team behind London. It's possible. And I guess Penix coming out and saying that doesn't help matters, though. Well, or maybe it does because people are like,
I think it
no,
does.
not
I
gonna.
think it
I don't want to
does.
hear it. Not gonna take
Late
him like
round,
Kendall.
late round flyer, fine, whatever. It's not going to be me though. Hand up, it's not. I'll have 0%. And if I'm wrong on Kyle Pitts for the first time in however many years, 4 years or whatever it's been, then I'll take the L. nothing brings a community together though, Adam, like an NFL community together than talking about Kyle Pitts
Oh, I
because
know. I know.
it's actually hilarious. And it's one of my favorite bits going on around the internet every year where we're just like, we can't do it again. It's just not time. But Michael Penix Jr. stirring the pot and having a quote after training camp saying, you see, we got KP the ball. That's going to happen a lot this year. It's just like, don't do this to us. Don't do it.
Or maybe he's doing that to get people to draft Pitts
Yeah.
in the
And then he has
leagues
his
for his
draft this
friends.
weekend.
He's like, his
Yeah.
friends are like, look, talk up Kyle Pitts so we can get him off the board. Let these suckers go in and draft him. So just pump him up a little bit, all right?
That's what
Just
I'm
open
saying.
your press conference and say,
I'm not doing it.
I mean, health
I
has been an
refuse.
issue for him too. I
Everything
guess
has been an
maybe,
issue
is
for
this
him.
because I
What are
haven't
we
been
talking
burned
about?
by him like
Yeah,
you?
probably. Yeah. And I haven't even really been like, it has never been that bad where I'm just like, I lost a league because of him, but it's just a waste. It's a wasteful pick.
Again, at his ADP, it's not.
I'm taking Brenton Strange ahead of him. I'm taking Hunter Henry ahead of him. That would put him at tight end 20.
Okay.
And then a late round flyer, sure, tight end. When he gets to Mike Gesicki range and Jonnu
If
Smith,
you
then
take Gesicki over
then
him,
I
come
draw the
on.
line. I said I draw the line. I'm just trying to be dramatic today. It's a Friday. What could go wrong here? But if you're
Yeah,
backing on
it's a
Kyle
Friday
Pitts,
and
you
you
let
haven't
us
told
know.
anyone to go home yet. It's almost
No, not
time.
yet. It's too early. It's
Okay.
breakfast time. 7:30 for me. What's that? 10:30 for you? We've got a
Yeah.
little bit of time. It's
All
when they
right.
go to lunch. So you just sneak out and never come back. Oh my gosh. Let's go through league winners. This is always a fun thing that we get to do, and these are potential league winners. So I'm going to give you some names. I'm going to see if we're on the same page, if we believe that these guys could actually win your league or not. We've got a lot of names. We're going to go through them coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Friday, going through league winners. By the way, Adam, league winner for the Mariners, Ichiro getting inducted this weekend. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Ichiro.
Cooperstown. I've got the Ichiro shirt on. Go
Nice. Yeah,
Mariners.
he was such a good hitter.
Oh, that was insane. It was insane. Anyway, just had to throw that in there. Go Ichiro. Go Mariners. Anyway, league winners. Let me give you some names here. I've got one that I know was written up a couple days ago in the newsletter. And again, fantasylife.com to go and check that newsletter out in your inbox 100 days a week. That'd be crazy, Adam.
Yeah, that would be a lot of
7 days
work.
a week. 7 days a week, 100% free, going into it. And again, everything that we talk about, a lot of it is in there. So you can get it in the morning, while Adam's having breakfast or not having breakfast, whatever you're doing, drinking your Folgers, you can check out that newsletter again in your inbox 7 days a week. What if I said George Pickens league winner to you? Are you on board with that? Because we don't have really the running backs changing teams like we did last season, but we do have some interesting wide receivers that have changed teams, like DK Metcalf. George Pickens is a big one where we say, okay, maybe the change of scenery is just going to get them in fantasy football to just give us that production that we want. And I think the interesting thing about George Pickens when we look at him going to the Dallas Cowboys is Dwayne wrote up Arthur Smith's teams have averaged a drop back rate of 53% over the last 3 years, against 62% for Brian Schottenheimer. Again, under Mike McCarthy, we understand that. So he has the Cowboys actually projected for 66 more dropbacks than the Steelers this year, which is the equivalent of 2 extra games worth of pass attempts. That's huge when we think about that. 66 more dropbacks than the Steelers going into this season, which again, 2 games worth. So when I look at, drafting wide receiver twos, I know some people at this range in the draft where he's going, they say, you know what, I just don't want to do this right now. I want the wide receiver one on a team. But do you think George Pickens could be a league winner this season?
Yeah, I do. And the price is affordable. You are
Yep.
often getting him as your wide receiver 3. If you go wide receiver heavy, as your wide receiver 4. And this is the best situation he has been in. We know Pickens has a lot of talent. He has the ability to go deep and get the ball. He's the piece that the Cowboys were missing as far as just helping the offense click in terms of they just didn't have that deep vertical threat that can stretch the defense. And there's the human element to it too. You mentioned the change in scenery going to a new team. You have to feel good about going to a team now that is going to pass the ball a lot more, that is likely going to be pass heavy. Where in Pittsburgh, you're like, yeah, I'm the one, but how many times are we going to throw? They're focusing on the run. Am I going to get the ball?
Yep.
So I think the biggest issue that people are worried about is his attitude. I don't know. You can't predict if it's going to change. You hope it does. He's in a contract year. So far, it's been fine. It's still early. I guess that's the biggest thing. Does he snap on teammates if he doesn't get the ball? If Lamb's having a big game, that would be the biggest concern. But from a football perspective, it's all there for him. It's just the best situation he's ever been in.
Yep.
Even though he isn't the one, and it is going to be CD Lamb, there's enough there, especially if this offense is playing in shootouts. If their defense isn't good and they're giving up points and the offense is forced to pass a lot and go back and forth and play these games where they have to try and hang in there by putting
Hmm.
up points and the running game isn't good, then yeah, and we've seen it. Dak is, close to 600 pass attempts in two of his last three full seasons. So there's plenty of targets there for George Pickens to go out there and put up really good fantasy numbers. So yeah, I do think he's a potential breakout for sure.
Yeah, and again, I know that sometimes again, generally people are looking at wide receiver twos on their own teams and saying to themselves, I don't want it. But he's going at the end. I thought he was going to, rise up a little bit more in these drafts. And again, maybe he will across other platforms, but going at the end, the very end, the 4-5 turn is where he's going. So you've got, DJ Moore, Xavier Worthy, Tedero, McMillan going ahead of him. But I've found myself making sure that I'm switching between if I've got, one of the first four picks in my draft. If George Pickens, DK Metcalf is there, I've been sprinkling a little bit on both. Jamison Williams is right in the middle of them, but we're going to talk about Jamison Williams here in a little bit. But I'm with you. I think not only just the best situation he's been in, I do believe, Adam, that sometimes with these players, when you go to different teams or just have a little bit of a different landscape, you have different people helping you out, that's also going to help. So I guess we can hold our breath a little bit for just the attitude stuff and everything else we've heard, but I just feel like with Dak there and with CD and all these other guys that he's going to have a good season. I just feel like it's right there for him.
Yeah, and look, he's had over 100 targets each of the last 2 years. It's just that the receptions were low. Again, a lot of it is deep passes, so maybe not high percentage throws, but should be in a better spot. He's the number one last year, getting all the attention. Now, a lot of that's going to go to Lamb. It'll open things up
Yep.
for him, and if he can get more efficient throws, because his catch rate the last 2 years has been under 60%. He's averaged 16.3 yards per catch in his career. He's a big play guy. He can get open, and if Dak gets him the football, yeah, you could see a big season. You're likely going to see a career high in touchdowns too. I mean, five is the most he's had in
Yeah.
a season, which was 2 years ago. Like you could easily see him score 7, 8 touchdowns in this offense.
Yeah, I'm curious what our projections have him at, but I'm with you right there. And when we talk about league winners, I mean, getting one in the fourth round is just that's what we look for because we are going to talk. We can talk right now, actually going into it about Nico Collins. But you're paying the price for a potential league winner there, so there is a difference. But and I know some people look at league winners and say, it can't be a league winner if you're getting them in the first round. But again, George Pickens going at the end of the fourth, which I think is a phenomenal value. Nico Collins going right now at the 10th overall pick over there on Underdog. So what do you think about Nico Collins and the potential that he has to be a league winner? I know Ian Hartitz came on here and one of his bold predictions was that Nico Collins scores more fantasy points than any wide receiver not named Jamar Chase. But when we look at what he's done from 2023, 2024 with CJ Stroud, I mean, you've got 17.4 PPR points per game, yards per route run has been wide receiver one worthy. You've got targets per route run is good for wide receiver nine. He's put up really good numbers. And now you have a season where maybe you look at CJ Stroud and say he has to bounce back. He can't be as bad as he was last season, or maybe it's right in the middle. But that at the end of the day does help Nico Collins.
He's been phenomenal. I mean, he's a guy that I drafted every year, and I was kind of waiting for that massive season to happen, and then it finally did in his third year in the league 2 years ago. Because I think at that around that time he was going, I believe, like round 10, round
Hmm.
11. It was late because you see his first 2 years in the league, it was underwhelming, but I saw that the talent was there, and that eventually he just needed that opportunity. He got it, and even last year, only 12 games, but when he was on the field, I mean, he was just unstoppable at times, capable of putting up 150 yards anytime he took the field. So we know that there's been changes in that receiving core, but he's the number one. There's no question about
No
it. And
question. Yep.
especially if CJ Stroud can improve, that's going to be a big key as well. But even with the way Stroud played last year, he just kept looking for Nico Collins. So yeah, he's in that range of receivers that there's a lot of good ones, and it comes down to your personal preference of where, because you could have Nico Collins, sixth at receiver, 8, 10. It's kind of different for everyone,
Yeah.
but I think that's the tier you feel really good about. Like to me, it's like once you get to the mid second round, late second round, that's where you're like, oh, okay, I don't really feel as
The
great about these
JSNs,
players anymore.
The Devontae Adamses of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, but Nico Collins, yeah. Look, I guess people don't want league winners in the first 2 rounds, but let's be
Which
honest.
I get.
But Saquon Barkley was a league winner last year. He was taken late first round, early second round. He was a league winner.
Yeah. And maybe they'll say that that's why I said I prefaced it with, if you don't believe that league winners can be in the going in the first round, maybe we have to call him something else. But I do believe Nico Collins could be that guy for you. He's someone that I just really like drafting, especially again, it just depends on where you're at. But I've actually reached for him in some of my underdog drafts, Adam, just because I'll be at the 6, 7 spot. And I just didn't I remember it was a couple weeks ago and I just didn't have enough Nico Collins. So I just made sure to just take him ahead of, I had to take him ahead of Puka Nacua and Malik Neighbors. But again, that's because we're drafting so much that we kind of want to make sure that we have good exposures across the board. Like we had this conversation yesterday, and I think it's important to just rehash it a little bit. But Christian McCaffrey, now, I don't necessarily believe in Christian McCaffrey, but for how many drafts we do a season, if he does hit, I want to make sure he's on at least one of my teams. But that's for, people and everyone listening probably that does a ton of drafts going into the year. It's just important that if you can, just sprinkle some different exposures across just in case, because it's always bad, Adam, or it's not fun if you have the leagues that look the exact same with your roster and then one of those guys goes down and it is just a domino effect across all your leagues. You kind of want to avoid that if you're doing if you're doing a lot, if you're doing more than, like, let's say 3 drafts, I would even say probably 3, but you just want to make sure that it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think if you're doing that, like, and there are people that listen that do 5 to 10 leagues, you want to really diversify up top because, like you said, if you draft the same player in all those leagues or a similar build, then and those injuries occur, now you got a lot of work to do for several teams. I don't mind taking the same player in the double digit rounds. If you really believe in that player, that they're undervalued, that they're going to have a bigger workload than anticipated, or you think they're just going to break out, then you can go crazy on those because those are not going to sink your team. You're really
Yeah.
not having a high level of expectations for anyone going in round 10 or later. A lot of times those players are going to be cut. Like, so example, 2 years ago, like I had Kyron Williams on a lot of teams. I would imagine I said, well, I have too much Kyron now. Let me go grab someone else. And it would have been someone who busts. And you'd be like, why did I do that? And a
Yeah.
lot of those players, too, that you go all in are not going to work out. You're going to wind up cutting them. I know there's probably a couple from last year that don't come to mind. But yeah, in the double digit rounds later in the draft, I don't mind going with the same player because if you are right, then now you have league winners across your teams. Whereas if they don't work out, you're expecting to cut many guys in the double digit rounds anyway.
Yeah.
If you get 2 guys in the double digit rounds that are in your team all season and productive, it's a pretty big accomplishment. All you got to do is go back and look at your draft last year. Go look at how many players you had in the double digit rounds that stayed on your team the whole year. You'll be surprised at how much turnover your team has.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, for if you're drafting a lot, just you want to be calculated risks, but the risks are a lot easier to do, Adam, when you're in the 12th rounds and looking at those late round targets. Which, by the way, we do have late round targets for you guys. We are want to specify that these are running backs. I wanted to make sure we got into some of the running backs that weren't the obvious handcuffs that we've been talking about. We've talked a lot about the Jordan Masons of the world, what we're looking at for some of these other teams, but these are really late round guys that you can pick that you might have to be patient on. You might end up cutting at them, but they're good names to have on your team no matter what. So we're going to give you those ones coming up next. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here on this Friday morning. Congratulations. You are so close to the weekend. We're getting you ready for your drafts, though. If you're drafting this weekend, make sure to let us know how it goes at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, on Twitter. If you've got questions for us as well, 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. We're going through some potential late round draft targets here, Adam. Not league winners. We've already talked about league winners, but guys that could have very good value going in the later rounds. And we're more specifically focusing today on running backs. And then we'll get into some of the later round receivers that you can be looking at as well. But wanted to talk, and I know that for as much as we joke about Cam Scatterbo, I am curious to know where you're at with him and Tyrone Tracy in this backfield. Tyrone Tracy was one that we talked about a lot last offseason. And once we got through the training camp scare where we thought that he went down with an injury, had a solid season. Cam Scatterbo comes in from Arizona State, forks up everyone. And I think it's, putting the Arizona State bias aside, I do like drafting Cam Scatterbo. He's definitely the people's running back right now because there's not a crazy discount that I thought that there was going to be. He's going right now in the 10th round. So that puts him around J.K. Dobbins, who we're going to talk about, Zach Charbonnet. So we're starting with the more expensive later round running backs. But Cam Scatterbo, when I look at him, Adam, I think about high upside players, players that you're looking at that could potentially with him, especially in those goal line carries, step up into that role. And then Tyrone Tracy, we talked about him before, but he had the fumbling issues, the drops issues. If that continues early on in the season, maybe Cam, overtaking a bigger role because of that. But what do you think about just this backfield in general with Cam Scatterbo?
I notice how you're wishing for the
No, stop.
downfall of
Don't do
Tracy.
this. I'm just
But
saying
that's what
when
you
when
did.
you
You said,
fumble,
if he
when you drop the
fumbles and he
ball,
stinks again like last year, then
no, it
your
was
guy Scatterbo can take
yeah, he's
over.
gonna step up 1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the backfield, one of the backfields we're trying to figure out, right?
Yep.
Because everyone remembers Scatterbo in the playoffs and all those highlights are running
Oh
through
yeah, we
everyone.
do.
We did see that, uh, from weeks 5 through 17, Tracy was RB 14 fantasy points per game. Like he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He was good at breaking tackles. So, last year I liked him a lot, but it was double digit rounds. Now it's obviously higher, but it's also the looming presence of Scatterbo that makes it difficult. So, like, neither are a target for me. I am probably in that range, dipping into the running back pool though. So it really depends who's on the board. Usually the way I build my teams, because at that point I usually have enough receivers and tight ends there, maybe, but it's
Yeah.
probably the running back. So you have Scatterbo over Tracy right now?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. But it's one of those things where again, I take off the Arizona State sunglasses there. And I do realistically, Adam, think that it's not when we look at this 1A, 1B situation, if Tyrone Tracy does struggle, like we did see that before, that maybe it goes more to a 65% Cam Scatterbo. But I am someone that also knows that this is going to be a split backfield. But I like the upside with him potentially getting those goal line carries. That's also assuming that the Giants get over there and get down there. So
It won't be
we'll have
that
to figure that.
often based on what they've done the last few
We'll have to
years, unless
figure
you
it
really
out.
feel that, Russell Wilson.
I don't think Russ is going to be bad though, to be
Yeah,
totally honest. Like Russ compared to the four that we had last season,
that's
and then
true.
Jackson Dart eventually.
Yeah. The thing is, Giants, don't they have the toughest schedule, they
Yes,
said?
they have the toughest schedule in the NFL. You should look at their first 7 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
the
brutal.
Commanders on the road to
Yep.
open at Dallas. And you could say what you want about Dallas. They always beat the Giants. Isn't it? I think it's like 14 or 15
Yeah, you
straight.
said the stat last year.
It
It was
was ridiculous, which
crazy.
means now I just ruined it. But if they lose at home to the Giants, then forget it. In week 2, like, yeah, you don't want to
Someone
have me
clip
here the
this.
next day because then I'll be like,
We'll
yeah,
be
it's
like, Adam's
over.
taking a personal
I'm
day.
like, oh, so how's the Mets pennant chase going? Then the Giants host the Chiefs, which is
Yeah.
somehow a Sunday night game. Like, who
What?
came up with the idea to
No.
put that on Sunday night?
We have too many Giants primetime games
Well,
this year. I'll say
no,
it.
Chiefs. The Chiefs are in prime time like a
No, I know, but
lot.
I'm saying we're seeing the Giants a little bit too much too.
Then they're home to the Chargers. They're at the Saints, so that's a game that they could win. Then
They could
again, it
win.
is on the road. Then the Eagles, the Broncos in Denver, Philly and Philly. Oh yeah, that is a
Yeah, the
brutal.
first seven
They
weeks are
might come
brutal.
out of there with one win.
It's bad, but then that's why I'm saying, excuse me, that's why I've said so much that like I listen, Russell Wilson, great, love that he's still going at it, but eventually this is an organization that's on the hot seat. There couldn't be a hotter seat going into the 2025 season. So they draft Jackson Dart for a reason, and I know Jameis Winston's still in there, so maybe we've talked about this. Maybe we see Jameis for a couple weeks until they get to whatever week 7. When's their bye? Do you have that in front of you? right now
For the Giants?
for the Giants. That's all
Uh,
I'm saying. I think we see Jackson Dart.
you would think so. Wow, is week 14?
Oh, wow. Never mind. They're not going to wait
Yeah,
that long.
that's brutal. Week 14.
So overall, though, staying away from the backfield. I know
No,
Tyrone Tracy is not necessarily. I mean, he's not. He's going in the ninth round. He's going in the ninth round, Cam Scattaboo. But this is one training camp, especially that I'm keeping a good eye on to see if we get any hints of what this could look like. But for right now, a 1A 1B situation with the 1A going to Tyrone Tracy, and then you just have to be a little bit patient with Cam Scattaboo.
yeah, I might have one Scattaboo and no Tracy, so it just has worked out that they just haven't landed on my team. Again, they're not targets, and also if it is a split backfield, that's not what you want on a
Hmm.
Giants offense. You don't want a split backfield on your fantasy team if we anticipate this offense being one of the worst again. So, split backfield would not be good for fantasy because they're not going to score much. So it would be bad. You don't want to see a split backfield. You hope that if you're on one side and you draft that guy, that they become the main guy in that backfield because a split
Yep.
backfield in this offense is going to be really bad.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit patient. All right, I've got two more names for us though that I want to get to because one's going in the 17th round, one is going in the 19th round, Adam. So these are really late running backs you can throw a dart on, and if they work out for you, you're going to be happy with your fantasy team. So let's go through these two names here coming up next. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you, continuing on through some of these late round running back targets that you can go and get. We mentioned Cam Scattaboo, of course, Adam. That had to be the first guy we talked about. Later round picks, though, someone I know that we haven't talked about yet. This going into this season. What do you think about Marshon Lloyd and a flyer on Marshon Lloyd? We're getting into this. These are potential, handcuff running backs. These are not guys right now that we're going to mention that you're going to put in your starting lineups week one. But there is potential there for them. We never want injuries, despite what Adam says about me. Don't believe anything that he says, but we don't want injuries. Marshon Lloyd, though, lost basically his entire rookie season to injuries last year. He had the hamstring strain, say that 5 times fast, and then it was the ankle sprain, and then he had appendicitis. Like it was all bad last year, Adam. But to me, Marshon Lloyd, if we're talking about potentially Josh Jacobs and the workload maybe coming down a little bit, Marshon Lloyd has been someone that I've routinely because he's going in the 18th, 17th, excuse me, the 17th round of underdog drafts. So that's putting him around, Rashard Smith, DJ Giddens, Justice Hill. But I've made sure to get a little bit of him. Again, if you target him or if you get him on your teams, this is one that's going to take up a bench spot for the majority of the season, Adam. But there's always potential with some of these late round guys, and that's why we always want to look at them because what's their path to getting more? Yeah, and that's one of the guys in the 17th round that I have the most exposure to.
Yeah, I agree. He's very cheap, and people forgot about him because we didn't see much from him as a rookie at all, with Jacobs
Yep.
getting all the touches. Yes, and I think he had a hip injury in the preseason, the hamstring issue, but I like what I've been hearing from him. He was saying even though he was hurt, he was in all in the meetings,
Yep.
at practice watching film, that he was still in it mentally, and he expects to get better, and now it's about doing it on the field physically. So yeah, I mean, I think he's the backup here, and if something happens to Jacobs, you got yourself a guy that will get the bulk of the touches in the backfield. And yeah, I think when we don't see these players much the previous year, they tend to get forgotten. Meanwhile, last year, like that was a guy that we were saying, hey, this is the backup. And in the past, we saw Green Bay use multiple running backs.
Yeah, that's what
I
I was
don't
going to
think
ask
they
you.
couldn't they couldn't last year. They had no one healthy. And it was like, all right, we just got to ride Jacobs now.
That's why I think it's interesting because I do agree that obviously he's a handcuff, but is there some point in this offseason or the next few weeks where we look at him and say maybe he has more standalone value than we're giving him credit for? Because we've seen that with LaFleur. Like he has never really given a workload like that to a running back. And we saw it last season with Josh Jacobs. You and I have always talked about why that probably was because of the Jordan Love injury, because of everything else going on. But yeah, I don't know. This is one where I'm looking, and obviously a solid RB2 handcuff on your on your bench over there. But for me, maybe there's a standalone role that we just haven't seen yet. The last one that I want to mention here, really late round pick. Again, be patient. Maybe someone you end up cutting eventually. But Taj Brooks to me, Adam, in the 19th. Where are you at? Because I look at Zach Moss, assuming healthy, and I look at the neck injury, and I say I think he can beat Zach Moss. I look at him and I think I believe he can beat Samaje Perine on the depth chart as well. But again, this is something in training camp that we'll have to watch out for. I've been taking him as well. He goes in the 18th round, so he's going around Kareem Hunt, Blake Corum, Tutu Atwell, Juwan Johnson. I like the potential here.
Yeah, P. Ryan is there also, but I don't believe in any of these guys. It's going to be Chase Brown, but Brooks certainly that late. That's what I'm looking for in those later rounds. I
Mhm.
want as many running back lottery tickets as possible, and some of them are going to be cut. It's not going to work out.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to hold on to some of these guys the entire year because you're going to need players to cut to pick up the waiver wire preferences that you want to add on your team. Obviously, if you have the running back and his handcuff, you want to hold on to the handcuff as much as possible. But sometimes the injuries occur right before the start of the season. In
Yep.
practice, it could occur week 1, week 2. So that's why you want to have as many lottery tickets at the running back position because that's where you can get someone that could emerge into a massive role. So you want to have them on your roster so you don't have to spend a ton of fab.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So those were some of the late round running backs that you can target. FantasyLife.com to go check out where their ADPs are across all of those platforms. We're going to the water cooler here coming up next. Oh, you already know what time it is. It is our favorite time of the day. Time for that fantasy life water cooler, going through all the news and notes that you might have missed here in the first hour. And of course, getting you ready for those drafts. FantasyLife.com. Always have to point you in that direction because it is just that good. We did amazing upgrades to the website as you can go and check out. So we've got, projections. We've got everything that you need. All of our rankings, season long and week one. If you really want to check those out right now, we've got the ADP tool. We've got every draft champion. If you need a mock draft simulator, that's one of my favorite ways to get ready for some of these drafts. If I can't get into any underdog drafts right now, that's the way to go. Stats and info, everything that we have over there is great. So make sure you head over there, fantasylife.com, and use that code SXM20. That gets you 20% off any Fantasy Life Plus subscription, tier 1 or tier 2. And make sure you're calling in. It's the best time of the year, Adam. We're getting ready for drafts. Some people might be drafting early. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Send us screenshots of your drafts at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. If you can't get through on the phone lines, if you just don't have time for that, you can send us a message over there as well. We're going to try and get to as many as we can. You've got a draft. Next weekend is the flex draft, like you said.
Yeah, and it
That'll
will
be
be
so fun.
broadcast here on the channel.
Ooh.
There'll be a super flex draft and then one quarterback
Are
draft.
you in the 1 QB or the super
Yeah,
flex?
I've been in the super flex
Oh,
draft for I don't know 6, 7 years straight, but they asked me to move so I can broadcast the other draft. So I said, fine, I'll do
there you
it.
go.
So I do enjoy the super flex though, so I'll miss that a little bit. But hey, I got to do what's best for the team and the channel. I'm a
Company
team
man.
player.
Yeah, love that. And you're drafting at the 3 spot. I'm at
Three
the
spot, yeah.
I'm
So
single QB as well online.
online.
In my draft is not only myself, but it's Ian Hart, it's Dwayne McFarland, and Laquan Jones. So that's gonna
Well,
be,
you
yeah.
at least know what Ian
I
and
know
Dwayne like.
I know what
Um,
all of us like.
yeah, I was
And
in the draft, the Superflex with Dwayne last year. He won.
yep.
I had won the previous 2 years. So congrats to Dwayne. I saw he posted a picture of his belt.
Yeah, the
Um,
that looked cool.
yeah, it is
That
cool.
looked
I got
really
one.
cool.
I don't know if you see it on the wall behind me for
Oh
those watching
yeah.
on video. So yeah, it's fun. And I guess I got to go back to the one quarterback league. And I got the 3 pick, which
It'll
I
be
like
fun.
early. I don't like late second, early third round. So I got to figure that out
Yeah.
because I haven't liked it when I've picked. I feel like if you're picking at the end of the draft, you're getting 2 really good players. So,
Because this is 14 teamers, right? 14 team leagues?
the super flex is
I think
12.
mine I think mine I say
Your
14
online might be
names.
okay.
Yeah, I'm pick
No,
10.
mine is 12. Mine is definitely
Okay, then
12.
mine would be 12 too. I'm at pick 10. So
That's
we're
not
back
bad.
to it's not bad. We're
You're gonna
back to
get
the
2 really
same.
good players though on the
No,
first 2 rounds.
I know, but I just I'm falling back into the same. I haven't gotten as many early round, mid round picks as I would like in some of these drafts right now. So I've been picking, 9, 10, 11, 12, same as last season. So that's why I'm like I'm trying to sprinkle in different players. Like I said, just recently I went and got Nico Collins cuz it was just one of those things where I was like I just want to make sure I have him. He's always taken away from me, but yeah, 10 spot, one quarterback. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's nice to get different spots and figure things out. But here's the thing: we always talk about these early rounds. It really comes down to the middle and later rounds. That's really what makes the difference. What you're trying to do in the first couple rounds is avoid the landmines. That's really
Yep.
what you want. Like, yeah, we all want to draft the receiver that's going to finish one, running back one. But let's be realistic here. We just don't want anyone that's going to sink our teams. Avoid the landmines because when you have them early, that's where in a competitive league, it's a challenge. But
Yeah, it
the
crushes
the
you.
mid round picks to the late round picks are really what make the difference.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be fun. So again, that's next weekend. And again, if anyone is drafting this weekend or right now or whatever, if you've already finished, send us some screenshots. I love to see how people are drafting going into August. And again, 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in. So if you've got questions, we definitely see you on hold. We are absolutely going to get to you. So let's get into it, Adam, a little bit. Thankfully, we don't, knock on wood, I have seen no bad news today. So we have no injury updates. I gave the update earlier this morning about Quinshon Judkins, and the update, Adam, was that we don't really have an update. It is still just a wait and see situation. He has not signed that rookie contract. So if you are going into a draft this weekend, just beware, be cautious of that. Justin Fields is day to day with that toe injury, but we saw him running at least to the sidelines this morning in some of the clips for the Jets. So that's even better news. A little bit of, it's not an update, but I did want to bring up James Cook again because we haven't mentioned that between him and Terry McLaurin, those are the two guys that we're waiting on for potential new contracts. James Cook came out yesterday when he was asked about the contract extension. He said, I want what I want, what I need, and I will eventually deserve to be paid. I deserve to be paid what I want, what I need, and I will be eventually. So we haven't really seen anything yet from the Bills side of the contract talks and everything like that, but we're still just assuming. I'm still drafting James Cook and just assuming that he's going to be good for the season because he's not holding out of camp or anything like that. We've seen him there, and so hopefully this gets figured out sooner rather than later. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, for those that already drafted Cook or have visions of drafting Cook, you certainly want that done. Look, it's a challenge with Cook because if you're just looking at last year's stats, it looks great, but the usage is just not there. And the 16 rushing touchdowns, you can't count on that again. Some might argue, well, it's a great offense. Why not? You don't want to bank on that. We saw the first 2 years in the league, and they just don't use him enough. I mean, I think he played, what, 49% of the snaps last year?
Yeah.
Look, Cook is a great player. I love watching him. He's explosive. I just don't like the way Buffalo utilizes him. And that's a problem. You know, you could say, oh, well, it's a run heavy offense and it's going to continue. They pull him off the field way too much. It's a
Hmm.
problem. They didn't translate last year. He was really good. He was a third, fourth round pick last year, and he's basically going in a
He's the
similar
same.
spot,
Yeah,
which
it's fourth
which
round.
because I think people are smart, right? In years past, he would go higher, but people are breaking this down and looking at it and saying, well, he's not going to be able to do this again if that usage is the same. So he was 10th in points per game in PPR formats, which is great, but a lot of it came on touchdowns. And he is a really good pass catcher, but he doesn't get utilized enough. And that's what you have to look at. You can't just look at what he did last year in fantasy points. If the usage is similar to last year, it's going to be a problem. Again, 207 carries. Like, are you serious? Like, if I just told you that, like, hey, this is around what the running back's going to get. What do you think about him for fantasy? You're like, that's just not enough. It's not
Yeah.
like, and it's not like Alvin Kamara from years ago. When Kamara was getting that, he was catching 80 passes. We're not getting that from James Cook. I mean, he had 32 catches last year on 38 targets. So unless you think this is going to change this usage, and again, if you're Buffalo, why would you? I mean, unless you think it goes back to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he had 281 touches, and last year he had 239, and that goes to show you the difference in touchdowns. I just 281 to 239, and he had a
Yeah.
way better year. Why? He had 18 total touchdowns. 2 years ago, he had 6 total touchdowns. So he's on a per play basis, he's great, 4.9 yards per carry. But if they're going to continue to utilize him this way and mix in Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, it's a problem for Cook.
And we've got him like rush attempts 196,
Even lower. Wow.
targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even lower. 196 targets at 40. So that's 236 total. So it's even lower. And I guess the only question too, because so James Cook last season 16 points, 16.7 fantasy points per game, RB8. And the role expansion was obviously the underlying driver for what we saw with the year over year growth. It's this, I always keep going back to this too, Adam, because this was insane to what. So inside the 5 yard line, when we look at the utilization profile, and we have an amazing utilization tool at fantasylife.com, by the way, if you haven't gone and checked it out, totally upgraded. Going from 15% to 48% in one season, that is unbelievable when you look at just his carries inside the 5 yard line. It was the only real big category where you saw James Cook improve, but it was important. So you and I have had the conversation of what if they just really continued to run him into the ground almost? And I guess that's the other way that you can look at it. I've still taken James Cook. I haven't really shied away from him. He's not necessarily a target, but there's only two running backs going in the fourth round. And sometimes if I want to get that early running back, if I'm going zero RB, it's Amari Hampton, it's James Cook, and I feel kind of okay about it. But again, that's also the range where we talked earlier about George Pickens, DK Metcalf, potential league winners going at the end. But I haven't necessarily shied away from him because I definitely thought his price would be a little bit too expensive. But again, just some of the some of the stats from last season, like you said, 16 scores on the ground. He was scoring a touchdown on 7.7% of his attempts. You just That's really hard to do
Right.
again.
After doing nothing the first two
Yeah.
years from a touchdown perspective. So unless you feel that his workload is going to increase, then okay. But I don't see why Buffalo is going to change things up. It worked to last year. Yeah, they didn't win a Super Bowl, but in the regular season, it worked. And
Yeah.
they just don't give him the ball enough. He had one game of 20 carries last year, just one. And then even look late in the year, because down the stretch, the last 6 games, look at his targets: 1, 2, 1, 3, 0, 0. He was getting less involved in the passing game down the stretch. Trust me, I know. I had him. So it was frustrating. I'm like, what is this? You'd see him come off the field on these 2-minute offense,
Hmm.
third down. It was really frustrating because he can catch the football. He's really good in the passing game. So the Bills just are using him this way. Now, if you feel, hey, no, they're going to give him more work, fine. But if we're going to get a similar workload to last year, there's no way Cook is going to score 18 total touchdowns again. You gave the stats. It was an outlier season. Could he score 9, 10? Yeah. But if he's going to do that and get a similar workload to last year and not see an increase in the passing game, he'll be good, but you're going to have some frustrating weeks. Because think about it.
Yeah.
Look what he did: 18 total touchdowns, and he was 10th in PPR formats and points per game. So if that drops and the workload doesn't increase, okay, fine. He finishes 18th, 19th, 20th.
Mhm.
That's fine, but can't there be some other running backs in that area that have the ability to finish higher?
Yeah. Omari and Hampton, straight up.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker going around later. Yes. There are better running backs probably going into that fifth round, but you never say never too. Like so those projections have him projected for a fantasy finish RB15 with 193.6 total fantasy points. But again, if the Bills gave Cook ever 60 to 65% of the snaps, that then offers top 7, top 6 upside. But
Oh, yeah.
that's a big if. That's a
Hmm.
big if, and we haven't seen it. So, maybe, and they're going to continue doing what they're doing, and they just have to try and get over the playoff hump, and we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, James Cook said he deserves to be paid what he wants and what he needs, and he will be eventually. So that's one we'll just have to watch out for there. Again, fantasylife.com to see all of those player projections, all of the stats that I mentioned, and again, the utilization tool and it's really amazing. Like the game logs, the comparison tool. If you want to compare players from last season, anything like that, make sure you go over there because it looks really good. I can't say better things about it. So make sure you go over there, fantasylife.com. Let's get over to the phone lines, Adam, and make sure we are getting through all these phone calls as well. Let's start out with Matt in North Carolina. Matt, what do you got for us?
Hey, how you guys doing? Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's going well. Couple quick questions. I am starting a guillotine league and playing in it for the first time.
Woo!
And I was just wondering how you would approach that draft differently than a
Yeah.
regular startup draft from the guillotine perspective and also from the 18 team perspective.
Hmm. Yeah, no, appreciate you calling in, Matt, and appreciate you. Oh yeah, do you have one more? Sorry.
I do, just based on the guillotine.com website. When does it tell you the draft order? Like how close to
Yes.
the draft?
Yes. So I think that one it'll tell you relatively quickly, but I can check on that right now. But you should know going into once your draft time is set and everyone has entered the league, then it will tell you where your order is. You'll be able to enter the draft room then. But I love the question and you getting into guillotine leagues, Matt, because it is so much fun. We've had Paul Charchian on here. He comes on with us every Tuesday to give us some of the breakdowns of how you go into those drafts. But Adam, essentially, with what Paul's taught us, everything that you know about regular fantasy football redraft, throw it out the window, Matt, and just start over. And just know that Guillotine Leagues is so different because you're not playing for weeks 15, 16, and 17. You're playing to just not lose, and you're playing for the next week. So when you're going into your drafts, I think the biggest piece of advice for me, Adam, that it took me a while to learn this last season when I was starting all these is don't be looking at the rookies and thinking to yourself, this is a screaming value. I want to get these rookies because they're falling down draft boards. You want proven guys that you know, especially in week one, are going to either get the bulk of the carries or going to be, the featured guy in these offenses. So, when I look at it, it's getting running backs like Jordan Mason, David Montgomery, we've talked about last or this past week here, Adam, with Paul. It's getting the Matthew Staffords of the world and Jalen Hurts, Cortland Sutton. So, that's the biggest thing for me, Adam, when doing guillotine leagues is, you're going to see some rookies on there and you're going to think, oh, Amari and Hampton, this is going to be great. But what if he really does, if Najee is good and they split that backfield week one and you're chopped because of it? That's what you have to watch out for.
Yeah, so look, you just go to fantasylife.com. There's a ton of articles on guillotine leagues. Paul Charchian does a lot of it with, running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends that are upgraded or downgraded. Also, it's a different mentality where in redraft leagues, we're often talking about late in the season. If you're listening to this show, we all expect to make the playoffs. So we're thinking
Hmm.
playoffs. We're thinking weeks 15 to 17. We're looking for players that are going to emerge with bigger roles as the season goes along. A lot of the times it is those rookie running backs. You don't have that luxury in a guillotine league. You can't wait. So you need that high floor early on in the season because your goal is to survive every week, obviously, but especially early in the season, because as teams get cut, good players are going to be on the waiver wire, and that's your opportunity to bolster your team. So some of these boring players that in redraft leagues are like, yeah, there's no ceiling. You want the high floor here. You don't want a week where someone's going to give you 2-3 points. That can mean elimination. Whereas in a redraft league, some of these guys, he only scores 8 to 10 points. That's boring. That's fine in a guillotine league,
That's
especially
good.
when you're
Yeah.
starting off with 18 teams. So there's a ton of content on Fantasy Life. So I would say go read that stuff, and it'll help you get ready. Like anything in life, you have to gain experience. Like I've written these auction articles on the site as well, and I can tell you and spoon feed you everything. You're not going to get good at an auction until you do it. You got to be
Yeah.
there in the moment. But in guillotine leagues, yeah, I think if you just read all these articles, absorb the information, notice which players see a rise, a decline, I think it'll help you get ready for it. And I think in a guillotine league, you can adjust quickly. I think you can
You
win pretty
can. Yeah.
quickly.
I agree. Just it's good. Don't blow all your fap at the beginning either. It's a lesson learned. You got a
Yeah,
thousand
you
dollars.
let others go spend $400 or $500 on one player
Yeah, you see
early in the
Jalen Hurts
season.
on there and you're like, "Oh
Don't
man, this could."
don't spend on a
I
quarterback
know.
in
I know.
in
You're
free
going to
agency.
end up getting good quarterbacks towards the end. But appreciate you calling in, Matt. Again, fantasylife.com. And just one other thing, Matt, you can we've got rankings. So if you want to use Paul Charchian's rankings for guillotine leagues, those are also live. He's got a cheat sheet that you can download, and he's got all his analysis over there. So everyone should go and start up a guillotine league going into this weekend. Let's continue on here. Let's go out to Gary in Virginia. Gary, what do you got for us?
Guys having a good Friday. I just have a keeper question for you. 10-team PPR, keep one. I've got Chase Brown in the 8th and Brian Thomas Jr. in the 10th. A good problem to
Nice.
have, but I'm
No
just
kidding.
struggling with that one.
That's awesome,
Do you
Gary.
know
Yeah,
what you
that is
pick in
a
the
problem to
draft?
have.
I'm third pick, and there's a couple of different ways I can go with receivers and the top 2 running backs in the league too. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the player I have ranked higher. It's Brian Thomas, and you're getting 2 rounds value.
Hmm.
So I do like Chase Brown. I think you might be able to get him back in the draft if you really want him. But I'm gonna go Brian Thomas here. You're getting 2 rounds, and I have Thomas ranked higher. So Brian Thomas for me.
Yep, I'm the same way. Good value in the 10th there. Appreciate you calling in, Gary. That's a nice problem to have. I'm very jealous about that one.
Well,
So
yeah,
I
when
always
you
get
when you
jealous when
draft well the
stop.
year before, then
Yeah.
and
I
those
thought you were
that's
gonna be
generally
wrong.
where those guys were going. So
Yeah, it's that's awesome. Let's do another one here. Let's go out to Joe in Tennessee. Joe, what do you got for us?
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I got a keeper question. 10-team full-point PPR, single keeper. I've got Derrick Henry in the second, Jalen Hurts in the third, and Terry McLaurin in the sixth.
All right, so Terry in the sixth. So 10-team full point PPR, Derrick Henry in the second, Jalen Hurts in the third, and Terry McLaurin in the sixth. Adam, what do you think here for Joe?
there's no real value here
No,
with any of them.
I'd almost.
I would probably go Henry.
Yeah,
Again, none of them are great value.
I feel like you could get Henry back in the second.
I
But
guess it
although you
depends
could
if you
get,
know where you pick. I guess it would help, but yeah.
yeah,
So what are you
Joe,
gonna?
Joe, are you still on with us? Where do you pick?
Yeah, I'm picking in the first, the number one pick.
Oh, the number
Number
one
one
pick.
pick. Oh, so
Hmm.
he wouldn't get Henry back.
No.
So what if you think if you had that mentality with Henry before, who would have been your pick? McLaurin?
Probably
Yeah.
would have been McLaurin. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. But
Just
Yeah.
thinking as a keep McLaurin and grab Chase with the number one, and then at the turn look to grab either go no running back and look for great tight end value and move forward from there with best available, or in the other direction, take Chase, keep Henry, and then with the 3-1 look to grab best available.
yeah. Are you sticking with Henry, Adam?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine if you want to do McLaurin there. It makes sense. Again, it's not like none of them are great values, but yeah, McLaurin in the 6th round of a 10-team league. So, that could be your 4th receiver, especially if
Yeah.
you start 3. If you start 2 and 1. Yeah, so I'm fine with that.
McLaurin too. I mean, his average fantasy finish the 3 years before Jaden Daniels arrived, wide receiver 31, gets the boost. Gets the boost all obviously from last season. Scored a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, another guy that was boosted by touchdowns. But if you expect
Yeah.
this offense to be maybe improve, maybe the touchdowns go up and maybe the receptions go up. Because if you look,
You think he
his
scores more
receptions and
touchdowns
receiving
than
yards are
last year?
very similar to his whole career. It was the touchdowns that boosted him last year. Everything else was generally the same.
Yeah, but you think he could score more touchdowns this
No,
year?
no, I didn't say more.
Oh.
Maybe the receptions and yards potentially go
Oh,
up if
okay.
the touchdowns go down.
I was like, wow, that would be impressive if
Yeah,
he
that
had
would.
the
If
second
he
most
gets 15,
touchdowns
16
among wide
touchdowns, that would
receivers.
be really impressive for McLaurin.
Yeah. Oh man. Appreciate you calling in, Joe, and everyone calling in with their questions here. Again, the phone number 888-963-2682. Another guy for regression, technically. Terry McLaurin, touchdown regression. We'll figure it out. He needs a contract anyway. I'm surprised that hasn't been done. I'm going to be totally honest with you, Adam. I thought we would go into training camp with that already finished, but we'll see if there's any updates on that in the next couple of days here. Call in with any questions that you have. If you can't get through, don't have time to call, at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. You can send us all of your questions. And again, fantasylife.com to go and check out that new upgraded website. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. We're doing and finishing out the team previews. I want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, the Packers as well. Talk about the running backs as well as maybe some receivers that we need to be looking at here. We're going to do that coming up next. Your athlete, their future, our mission. If you've got a rising star under your roof or on your roster, Premier National Sports is here to help them go to the next level. If you know someone who is a high school athlete looking to take their game to that next level, then Premier National Sports is the team to help you through that entire process. Premier National Sports is a trusted recruiting and NIL resource for high school athletes and their families, so you can help rising high school athletes take their game to that next level with personalized recruiting strategies, NIL education, which we all know is so important right now. Make sure to go and check them out if you haven't yet. You can get in touch with their team at premiernationalsports.com. That's premiernationalsports.com. Fantasy football is life. Drafts are coming up, and we are going to continue to get you ready to dominate and win every single league that you're in, Adam. I know you say that it usually can't be done, but I feel like this is the year that someone calls in and say, I won every single league. And we'll just
Well,
applaud them and be
I
excited.
hope so too. What's the minimum for that though? Because you could say I won all my leagues and played a one, so that doesn't count.
What should we set it to? What would be impressive? Besides, it would be impressive either way, if even if it was two, but should we
At
set it to
least
something?
three, right?
I was gonna say five.
Okay,
Five would
I'm
be
good with
tough.
that.
All right,
If you
five.
play in 5 leagues and win all five, that is
Oh,
a
you let us
phenomenal
know.
year.
That'd be amazing. Ugh,
If
that
you
would be
play
so
in
fun.
10 and win all 10,
Then Adam's gonna take you out for breakfast.
then
We'll say that.
yeah, at like 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
for breakfast, yeah.
No. After the show, just go get some breakfast.
Okay.
It'll be great. It'll be amazing. But yeah, let us know. And also, if you have any other questions or concerns, anything that you want,
And we
at
need
K
proof
Violent.
too. We need receipts.
We do need receipts, and don't Photoshop it. I wanna
No
actually
AI.
see it.
Come
No.
on. Be real.
We will know when your team looks too stacked. We'll be like, hang on a second. But again, at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. If you've got any questions, the phone lines are also still open. If you want to call in, we'll try and get to as many of those as possible. Let's go through the finishing touches of the team previews here for this week. Vikings Packers are two that we have not talked about. The running backs. I know we've talked a lot about Jordan Mason here, Adam, because I've said he's one of my most drafted running backs, even just from months ago. But do you think everyone, are we underestimating Aaron Jones's upside as the lead running back going into this season? Or are we just going in assuming that it's not going to be like what we saw last year? We didn't have, I mean, last season, Aaron Jones he was a beast, but he had no one behind him really giving any meaningful production. I think it was Cam Akers was the next guy. And so I look at this team, and that's why we like Jordan Mason, because it feels like he could take some of the workload off of Aaron Jones. But are we undervaluing Aaron Jones now?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We know he's getting older, 30 years old. Remember all those years in Green Bay, they never utilized them heavily, and everyone was wondering because he was so efficient, and they probably knew, hey, this is the best way to get the most out of him. Let's not overwork him. And we did see last year, Jones did struggle near the goal line to score, and he did struggle late in the season too, battled some injuries. He had 255 carries, by far his career high. It's the most he had since 2019 when he was 25 years old and had 236.
Mm-hmm.
Now 30 years old. So Minnesota knows, okay, we cannot overwork this guy. We want to get the best out of him. We have to have him split or get another running back involved. Because, yeah, he had a good year last year. Definitely more touches than most people would have imagined. He went over 300. So,
Yep.
He's always been a solid, efficient back, but he is getting older. And, I think Mason is going to come in there and play a pretty big role. So, yeah, Jones turns 31 in December. So,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
You took my stat. Dang
sorry.
it. When's his birthday? What day?
Oh, man. See, you looked it up. That's not fair.
No, I have no idea.
Oh,
I
you
haven't even
don't?
looked it up yet.
Well, I said December. What date December? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
what
gonna throw
day?
it 16th. I don't know.
Let me look. Oh, wrong. The second.
The
Come on.
second.
We
Oh,
got to be
what?
better.
Yeah.
What do you But I'm with you on this, and just overall with Aaron Jones. I took Aaron Jones last season, and again, it was, you were happy with where you were getting him in drafts. He was one of the cheaper guys, compared to all the other running backs that went to different teams. The Saquon Barkleys, the Derrick Henrys of the world. The advanced numbers, though, like what you were alluding to, it wasn't necessarily elite, right? The Vikings 21st ranked offensive line in rush yards before contact per carry. That also didn't help things. And then Aaron Jones, was ranked 17th or worse in missed tackles forced per carry as well. Explosive rush rate, yards after contact per carry. There's a list of them. So then you turn 31 in December. You've got the new guy Jordan Mason coming in, and that's why I've drafted a good amount of him, and I've been excited about it because it just feels like, Paul Charchian came on here and said that he believes that Jordan Mason is actually going to be the lead back in this backfield, and it's not going to be Aaron Jones this season. So there's a lot of things to look at, but Jordan Mason going in the 8th round, that's all these names: Quinshon Judkins, Travis Etienne, who I have to turn myself around on. I have to, draft a little bit more. I think Travis Etienne right now, Adam, but and then Brian Robinson Jr. Those are all 8th round running backs that he's going around. I like it.
Yeah, I'm willing to take him in that area too. I do think he's going to play a bigger role than some people think. They're not going to utilize Aaron Jones in the same way they did last year. They know that it's not going to be best for Jones and for the team long term.
Going over to the Green Bay Packers, we already talked a little bit about Josh Jacobs, Marshon Lloyd being the handcuff there, and how we do like taking him as that late round flyer. Who's going to end up being your most drafted wide receiver out of this team? The answer could just be no, but it's Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Christian Watson. We don't know yet his return date and what that could look like, but is it going to be the rookie Matthew Golden? Do you actually think that Matthew Golden could be the alpha wide receiver one that they've wanted, or do you think he still profiles as like this wide receiver two in an offense that's really crowded?
Yeah, I think the concern for Jaden Reed is he has not played a lot of two wide sets. So it keeps him off the field more. And I did see, at least like early in camp, that he was still not on the field. That will hurt him for fantasy. Golden, I probably would take him more. I don't have a lot of Green Bay receivers right now. I did take Golden in a draft or two, but I lean Golden. They brought him in. They finally spent a first-round pick, an early pick, on a wide receiver. Not saying he's the answer, but I would likely take the shot on him. Still think Reed could be good. We have to remember, we've talked about it a lot, Jordan Love was playing through injury last year, and you look at the distribution between pass attempts and rushing attempts. Love's pass attempts went way down. I think it should go back up, but it still feels like a team that there's not going to be that dominant receiver who commands the most targets, that they will spread it around.
Yeah, the numbers for Jordan Love were not good. He when you look at it, I think it was QB 33 on a per game basis from weeks 8 to 18. Like, it just wasn't good. But if we're talking about Jordan Love compared to CJ Stroud, I do think he has a better bounce back. Because I do believe that we could see Jordan Love, like you said, that injury happened in the international game. It was week 1.
Yeah.
And so we were surprised. We were even surprised that we were seeing him as early as we did coming back from that. So I look at Jordan Love and just some of the underlying metrics, and I say to myself, okay, I know that he isn't that big of a rusher to begin with, but if he gets back into that territory that we saw a couple of years ago, then I do think he outperforms that price tag that he's at, going around guys that he's at as well. And for me, I'm split. I've split right down the middle. I've got Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed at the same exposure, and I'm probably going to keep it that way. Now, if it comes to, and that's obviously on Underdog, I don't know what I'm going to do if I get into my home leagues and both of them are there. They just both make me nervous that it's still going to spread the ball around, all that stuff. I like Tucker Kraft, though.
Yeah, they're all cheap at least. No
Yeah.
one is going really high. You generally see Reed go first and then Golden goes after, but yeah, it's an offense where people just are worried about the receivers, where no one is going to command a huge amount of targets.
We'll wait and see. We'll find out. Hopefully they do, and hopefully it's one of the two that we just mentioned. But it just, are you back in on drafting Jordan Love in any kind of format, or not necessarily?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
again, he's very cheap. I would take him as my backup if I'm in a league where I am going to take a backup quarterback, because I don't always. But yeah, I mean, look, I think he could bounce back. I mean, he's being draft based on the price from last season. So, yeah, I'm not avoiding him, but he's not a target either. I feel like there's other quarterbacks that I feel that have higher ceilings that I'll take in that range. But if it gets to the point where most of my guys are taken and I'm looking at the 18th, 19th quarterback off the board, I have no problem taking him then.
Yeah, he goes around Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud's going right after him in that 12th round. So we hope that they get better, and we hope that, it's just an injury-free season, because that's really starting the season off like that and then just having to go through that with Jordan Love all year was really tough for everyone all around. So we hope that some positives come out of 2025. Continuing on, and again, all of those, if you guys haven't checked these out, all the team previews are live at fantasylife.com. Ian Hartitz did a great job of the team previews, fantasy football outlook for 2025. Make sure you go and check those out. It is now time for our reach of the week presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade. We're going to give you the players that we've been reaching for in our drafts going through this week. We're going to do that coming up next. All right, it is time for that reach of the week presented here by Mike's Hard Lemonade. Because, Adam, we like to go hard in draft season. We want to make sure that we are getting all the value that we can, so we can text our league mates and say, can't believe you didn't get this guy and you let him fall to me, because that's why we're here. That is why we're doing the Mike's Hard Reach of the Week. So every week we will spotlight a player that we really liked this week. And those are the guys that we're going to plant our flags on and say, hey, really liked him this week. Going to make sure that I go and get him. So let's do it here, presented by Mike's Hard. You want me to go first again? You got a player? What the heck? I'm just giving you all my guys. I'll say this one. Okay. You're like, I don't like him. It's fine. Jalen Noel is someone that I drafted a lot this week. I think I mentioned this in one of the breaks. And maybe it's one of it's just, to me, 16th round Jalen Noel. I also, just the Houston Texans in general, when I'm looking at if I don't get Nico Collins, I have gotten Jalen Noel. I've gotten Jaden Higgins from this team. I've liked, and we haven't talked much about them because it's just really the Nico Collins show. And I understand that Christian Kirk is 28 years old. And maybe I need to reevaluate my stance on Christian Kirk. I just believe that maybe he could get run off the depth chart. I don't know. But Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel. I know that Jalen Noel had the Khalil Shakir comp from Thor. He was Dwayne McFarlane's wide receiver 10 in the rookie supermodel. That's not wide receiver 10 overall. Do not get that twisted up. But he's a smaller guy, but he's capable of winning downfield. And I really like him, because when we look at him, he was tied with Kyle Williams, who's the rookie for the New England Patriots, for the most receptions on passes thrown, 20 plus yards downfield of any Power 5 wide receiver last season. So I know that we've talked good stuff about Nico Collins. If I missed out on them, I am totally okay with, waiting a way longer time. If you want Jalen Noel, he goes in the 16th round, and Higgins' latest price has not been bad either. That's T Higgins, so I know that's not right. So he's been going in the 8th round. So around Michael Pittman Jr., Brandon Ayuk, Cooper Kupp. But those are two that I just wanted to mention that I have been reaching for a little bit, but definitely the later round guy in Jalen Noel I like.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a massive reach in the later rounds, or you're just making sure you get him, right?
I'm just making sure I get him.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm going to take him ahead of ADP, and that's what I've done this week. I just want him on some of my teams. 16th round though, Diami Brown, Michael Wilson, DeAndre Hopkins. I'll usually take him around early, 15th round.
Yeah, I think that's what you need to do when you get in the later rounds. If you truly believe in a player, don't worry about the ADP. The ADP is just a market, a guide, and it's often wrong. So if there is someone that you are really targeting late, I think it gets to a certain point where you don't even worry about ADP. Of course, you want to get the value, but you also don't want to be in a situation where you're like, oh, I knew I should have taken him 2 rounds ago. I was thinking about it, and you wait, and then someone else takes him. So if you really are into a player that late, don't be afraid to push the ADP up a couple of rounds to ensure you get them, because you never know. Someone could have a similar mindset to you, and then they pull the trigger a lot faster than you, and you sit there with regret.
Someone could have your rankings and do the
it's happened. It's happened to me. It's not fun when all your players are being taken, but I guess that's part of it, right? You got to be transparent.
That's why it's fun.
Put everything out there. So yeah, I know there are people in my leagues who listen to the show, and they're like, oh, okay. But they don't know all this information I'm giving out is false. All my real
info, it's opposite day every day with that.
I should. They're like, wait, I thought you said you love this guy. I'm like, oh, that you were
Joke's on
listening on
you.
opposite day. You didn't hear the
You're
beginning of the
so
show. You got to
funny.
listen to the whole entire show. You can't just skip through. You got to listen to the whole show.
Surprise, everyone. Do the opposite of what we just told you all day. No, I'm just kidding. Let me give you another one here. And I like again, good call out though. ADP is a baseline. Don't look at ADPs and think, oh, and who cares also if your league mates, in the group chat are like, can't believe you took him 2 rounds, 2 rounds before he was supposed to go. Like ADP is just a guideline, and that's just that's just consensus, right? Especially when we look on Underdog, they take all those drafts, and that's consensus ADP of where everyone usually takes them. So it's just a guide. You don't have to follow it, pick for pick, Adam. I think that's the other part. Have your queue set up, have your tiers printed out or on your computer. I know, Adam, do you print yours? You don't bring a
Yeah, I
computer.
print it out and I
Yeah, so
cross
you can be
off.
like Adam and print
Yeah.
them. Who even has? Do
Old
you own
school.
a printer?
No, I don't. I have to
Oh,
go
okay, so you have
somewhere
to go to
else
like
to get it
Kinko's
printed
or
out. Yeah.
hey, Staples, whatever. So
Yeah.
print it out at Staples, take the nice long walk, or be like me, stay at your house, have them on your laptop, and you don't have to go. You don't have to go
So
anywhere.
what do you do when if you're drafting online from home? And
I have my computer.
so do you like delete the name as they're taken, or you just
Yeah, I put
okay.
it into a spreadsheet.
Okay.
I love a spreadsheet. Or like when we were in Vegas, I actually stole Paul Charchi and printed out our cheat sheet tiers. And that was nice because you just X them off and stuff. But
This way you
I
don't
do
miss anyone, because
exactly.
if you're just looking at a queue, depending on the platform, some of those players are buried in the 300-400. So if you're just following what's in front of you, and then that player that is buried gets selected, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize he was there. You never want to be in that scenario. So just do what works best for you. That's it's different for everyone.
I don't know what draft I mentioned doing that a couple weeks ago. I was in a draft. I can't remember what platform it was on, but I was like, it was a DraftKings best ball draft. And I was in this draft and I made the rookie mistake. It was my first one of the season and I didn't scroll down. And there were all these guys at him that I had way ahead, especially in my rankings, which is usually, it's what I go off of. And if I see a difference, I'll change them. But yeah, just make sure if you're drafting on other platforms that you haven't necessarily done yet this season, just take a scroll, scroll all the way down and see where these guys are, because it sometimes is shocking.
And that's why I like having, whether it's my rankings or someone's of Fantasy Life, if you just cross them out as you go, and you're looking in the queue and you're like, oh, I don't see this name, put the guy in the search and you're like, oh, he's ranked 246. Cool, I'm gonna take him now.
Yeah,
it might be rookies. Sometimes the rookies get buried because
it's usually
do
the rookies
early.
Yeah, it's usually the rookies. I came away with a great draft over there, though, by the way. If I win millions, I'll let you know. I'll still come to work.
I'm in the middle of one now, and I'll probably start another one.
Yeah, love it. I love it. All right, so those were the reaches of the week. I'm going to go through a couple more names here because I do have just a few more. But Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins over there with the Houston Texans are guys that I'm going to plant my flag and I'm going to say I believe in them. And so that's what I'm going to do, is definitely reach for them. That was the reach of the week presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade. We're going to go through more names that we like to reach for in drafts going into the weekend. We're also going to talk late year wide receiver breakouts. We've got those names coming up next. This is the best part, Adam. Friday, you got the weekend. Hopefully everyone has a great weekend. Stay safe. Do well in your drafts. Send us your screenshots at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis. Adam's going to the beach. It's going to be great.
I hope so. That's the plan. I'm hoping the weather cooperates. What are you going to be doing? Staying inside?
No, I'm going to try to go to a pool. A pool sounds
really?
nice. Yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful here. It should be about 82. It's cloudy though.
It's hotter here. It's like a
Oh,
heater
is it?
today. It's like heat advisory. So
oh, yikes.
guess the humidity's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be not fun. But the beach should be fun. That could be awesome. And of course, we're going to keep drafting.
Yes, we will keep drafting. And next weekend, next week is August.
I know. Don't say it out loud.
Today
that's crazy.
is August 1st.
It's flown by. You've got drafts coming up. And if you don't yet, schedule them, because it is happening so quickly. You've got a draft next weekend, Adam, in the Flex.
Yeah, the Flex League draft next weekend. It'll be broadcast right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. So 2 broadcasts. I'll be hosting one. I'll be hosting the Super Flex League.
Ooh.
So I'm not in that one anymore.
Dang, you'll just be jealous. That's what you'll be doing when you're hosting.
I'll just rip the teams to shreds. And it'll be great because everyone's there in person and get to say it to their face.
I like it.
Let's be honest. Can 12 people all have a good draft? No. They can't. So
no. We know that though. They'll be fine with it.
Yeah,
they won't care. They'll be fine. Let me ask you one question before we're out of here. And again, appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. FantasyLife.com is where you can go see all of those upgrades to the website. But make sure you keep it locked right here because you do have RotoWire Fantasy Sports today coming up here at noon Eastern. SXM20 for 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. What wide receiver on the Broncos are you drafting besides Courtland Sutton? Is there any for you? Is it Marvin Mims season? I know he was your guy last year in the prop department. It was him, right? He
Yeah,
would
late
always
in the
take his
year, it
over.
was
Yeah.
very low. It was like in the
Yeah.
20s, and he just would get it on one big play.
Is it
Yeah,
Pat Bryant? Or it could
I
be
have
no.
been.
Like you could just say no.
No, I'm taking Mims and Bryant late.
Okay.
Mims, it's just does the usage increase? We've seen the flashes, but the volume hasn't been enough. Does that change? That's the biggest concern. So he's probably better for best ball. I know Sean Payton always makes these crazy comparisons to all these players that come out, and I think with Pat Bryant, he said Michael Thomas.
He
So
did.
yeah, no,
Gets the people going.
I would take him late though. It's not going to cost you much, and you see what the role is. But yeah, I would just love to see Mims involved more, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it.
I felt like they needed to do it last year too, and it just never
And
it just never
it was
really
late in the
happened.
year, and it still
Yeah.
wasn't. And even if you look at the snap counts, it still wasn't a lot. I mean, for props, that is something you look at, but it was just like, all right, he's getting enough volume, and just he could get it on one play, and it was like in the low 20s. That's why it was just an easy layup. Well, nothing's ever a layup, but
I was gonna
looking
say.
at everything, it was as close to a layup as you can get, and it worked out many times.
And it's, Pat Bryant, if you want the cheapest option in this offense for wide receivers, obviously Courtland Sutton's going first. Marvin Mims is the second wide receiver off the board, but Pat Bryant going in the 14th round. And our projections for both of them are they're pretty close. They're 61 targets for Marvin Mims, 51 for Pat Bryant. If Pat Bryant catches fire there, I could see him really coming up. 34 receptions, 402 receiving yards, and then 4 touchdowns for Marvin Mims.
Yeah, he's
I'm
a
just
guy to
curious
keep an
there.
eye on in camp.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. FantasyLife.com. That's where you can go and subscribe to that newsletter in your inbox 7 days a week, 100% free, and use that promo code SXM20, 20% off any tier 1, tier 2 subscription. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. We'll see you here on Monday.